And welcome back to Answers with the Astral Baglady with your host, Dr. Reverend Dr. Newman, and myself, the Reverend Spirit Soaring.
Close is good. I always say close is good.
Yeah, I've used some of those proximity devices. Close works.
I know. I've had a client that for some reason thought I was Linda Goodman, and every time she paid me, she made up the check to Linda Goodman, and the bank never noticed. It was like, okay, fine.
Uncle Sam changed my name 3 times while I was in the service.
Nice.
So I kept getting paychecks addressed to
somebody
and that person. I'm like, okay, this is my name this month.
Just like my friend Mike Smith, he lives in absolute fear of being pulled over because there's always a Mike Smith in legal trouble.
Oh, so,
no. Anytime he's going to court, he's had to prove, I'm not that Mike. I wasn't here then. Wasn't me.
My Caucasian name, you wouldn't think would be all that popular, right?
But
I've been stopped at 3 borders because of somebody by my name. They almost detained me at the Canadian border one time because of Greg Burris. I said, did you check his social security number? They went and checked, and sure enough, the social security numbers were different.
It had to be bad because it's easier to get in Canada than to get back to the States. The States are the evil side.
Oh, I was actually trying to get back into the States.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst side. That's the worst side. I had a man once going through everything in my car, and I got out of the car and I'm handing him stuff. Here's my carton of chocolate milk. Here's my Tim's, And I got ready to go. I got back in the car, and he says, you can go now. And I said, thank you, ma'am. Sir. Big for you. I get that all the time. Well, I'm glad. It was respectful, When be respectful.
People just, I don't know. They have this thing where they associate a name, not a face, and they get lost in the name, or they get held up in the name. And I'm like, everybody's got names.
Yep. Most of them will grow.
I need to remember, facial characteristics of people, not their names, because names change.
I'm good with voices. You can call me 20 years ago and call me tomorrow and, oh, hi, how you doing? Couldn't tell your name, but I know we've spoken before.
Yeah.
Just works that way. Want to tell people how they can find us?
We are live on YouTube. We are live on the Reverend L's page. We are live at Spirit Soaring's Take a Walk with Me. And if you missed the live show, check back later. You can find us on Anchor FM, Breaker FM, Spotify, Google Podcast,
excuse me,
Apple Podcast.
Let's not forget YouTube.
There's some more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The YouTube, you can actually watch the YouTube from now until whenever, because we've got now 3 months worth of YouTube videos up.
Sweet. And Podomatic let us have 4. 4.
Yeah, they don't rotate these out. If I save them to our stack, that's where they go. Now the live ones will only stay up for, they'll stay up in the live video column for 30 days.
Wow.
But they're also in the stored videos. So if you miss it, you can always go back and watch it. If you missed something that we said or need clarity in something we said, you can always go back and watch it.
Perfect.
That's something nice for us because, I like to go back and watch. What did I say?
I prefer not to. Did you say that? Probably.
Possibly.
Likely. I get lots of, what did she say? What did she say? Yeah, it was me. Open mouth and surf foot, bite down gently. But you're going to get the truth. So tonight our topic is, don't let Jupiter make you stupider. I know that's not a real word, but it rhymes. So, I come from the Dr. Seuss school of rhyming words. And Jupiter, as you know, is all about excess. Imagine, if you will, and I've done this, it's somebody's birthday and you buy a giant bouquet of helium balloons, shiny, bright, beautiful helium balloons, and you put them in a little hot sports car on a summer day and then run to get cupcake papers in the dollar store. And when you get back, the balloons are gone.
Uh-huh.
And you open the car door and go, oh no, where's my balloons? Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's where they went.
That's the expansive energy of Jupiter. And because Jupiter is in Pisces, now, mind you, of all the signs of the zodiac, the two signs that people complain about the most, the two signs that get on your last good nerve first are Virgo and Pisces. Venus is in Virgo right now. Understand.
I'm getting on everybody's nerves.
There you go. Understand. I'm getting on my own. Understand that that if there's a criticism hurled, it's meant to be constructive, and don't take it to heart. Because remember, every Virgo on the planet wants to be perfect. They forget they are. And because they want to be perfect, they have to do everything perfect every time and do perfect the next time and perfect the next time. So they expect a lot of themselves, and they will expect an equal amount from you. Truthfully, all you need to do is make an effort. That's the basics. Do your best, be your best, and they can't find fault with you. Now, if somebody does criticize you, which is likely, go to your own tapes and see if you don't have some self-critical buttons. And perhaps they just did a little dance on the button you've been trying to ignore for a while. Pluto in Capricorn, trine Venus in Virgo. Welcome to the world. So we got Jupiter in Pisces. Pisces is everything creative. Any beautiful thing you've ever seen, any beautiful thing you've ever done, any beautiful thing you've ever experienced has to do with Jupiter on a large scale. It's the moment you realize that different modalities and different religion and different spiritual bases are one and the same. The language may be different, but the truth behind it, the knowledge behind it, the genuine wisdom behind it, one and the same. My Buddhist teachers taught me the same things my martial arts teachers taught me, as my Native American teachers taught me. Walk in honor, be a good person, do your personal best all the time, give your best to company, and on and on and on. So there you got Jupiter. He's a dude. He's the guy from the Homeowners Association with the giant red Lincoln Town Car. If that doesn't say, never mind. Take a check. Yeah. Take a check. Getting out of his car in his cheap, shiny suit with a big, smelly cigar, blinding me with his pinky ring to talk to me about our beautification award. That's Jupiter. Larger than life. It's a big spotlight. It's a gaseous one. Now, we also have Neptune in Pisces, and he's little, but his influence is even more. It's subtle and insidious and amazing. It's actually what has created this cycle of spiritual awakening. You find so many more people now are discovering that religion isn't necessarily spiritual. It ought to be. It should be. But if your religion is telling you that you're a sinner or you're lesser than, or you have to pay more pew rent to get grandma out of purgatory, that's not a religion. That's corporation. Okay? Trust me, they take plastic. This is not.
That's not a faith-based spirituality.
No.
It's
the Church of Cha-Ching.
Yeah, it's a monetary system.
Dollars and cents. Last time Neptune was in Pisces was in the 18th century. Remember, I told you, we get this transit once every 110 years. So let's not waste it, boys and girls. Consider the great creative genius that existed, and there's so many more, during the 18th century. Charles Dickens, Hawthorne, Bernard Shaw, Oscar Wilde, there's one of a kind. The music of Wagner and Verdi. The artistry of Manet and Monet. The twisted sister psychology of Sigmund Freud. Napoleon was busy stealing things from Cleopatra and taking them to Paris, because that's what one does. And when the girls and I were in Paris the last time, we were walking down the Champs-Elysees, and Arc de Triomphe is about 2 blocks behind us, and there's this great big obelisk in the middle of the street. And it was one of Cleopatra's needles. And the kids are looking in restaurant windows and store windows. I'm in the middle of the street hugging this thing because, like, oh my God, do you see what we have here? How amazing is that? The Virgin Mary appeared at Lourdes, and Lourdes became a healing place. Once again, incredible spiritual awakening, once every 110 years. So you got Jupiter, who aligns with Neptune, to do this conjunction once every 10 years, to make any aspect probably about every 6 months, and then gliding across the rest of it, kind of like her cosmic concierge or house mother, is the moon. Now, the moon, as you know, is karmic. So things that you love, things that you don't love, people that will have an influence on your life, people that have had an influence on your life, you're going to see those dramas played over and over and over again. So Jupiter's going to make you whatever you are, ever so much more so. If you are zen and happy and centered, it is pure bliss. If you're stressed, guess what? You'll be up all night, like my brother Spirit, who's blaming Jupiter because he can't sleep. And I'm telling him, well, edibles.
It's not really Jupiter, but you know, we are all subject to our own whimsy.
Yeah.
And I'm faced with a conundrum.
Which is?
Well, I know things, but the answers I can. Let me rephrase that. I know things, but the answers I've been allowed to give aren't answering people's questions. I'm
getting obvious questions. I do go for confirmation, but I already know walking into it that, for instance, as I told you, I got this friend that found this get rich quick scheme. It's a $250,000 grant. And to get it, it will cost me $1,000. That's security. I'd be much more secure having $1,000 I could count on than forking out $1,000 and wondering if the money's ever going to come through. Now, he says he got it. We went to the Better Business Bureau, and they said, well, a few people will just to keep the scam rolling.
Yeah.
But don't be banking on it.
Right.
And as I said, Lisa went to Facebook, and the same woman's name, has like 5 different profiles with the same picture.
Yeah.
Sort of different. So I'm thinking hustle. So what I did when he brought this to me a couple days ago was I sat down and I mentally spent that money. I bought you a camper. I had $50,000 for Courtney, $50,000 for Lisa, pay off this huge medical bill from January and February, to fix this, do that, home improvement, blah, 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 blah. Right. And I felt just as good in that moment as I would if I'd had that money. You don't need the money to make you feel that good. I mean, I've been rich and I've been broke, and rich is kind of nice. But as Singh said earlier, when we were talking about me bemoaning the fact that I never got any welfare cheese, because I heard it was the best cheese in the world. I've always been grateful for what I have. And when we say, give us this day our daily bread, we're affirming to ourselves and the world that God will meet our needs. You'll have the bread, you'll have the wine, you'll have oxygen, you'll have the blood, the grandfathers coursing through your veins. What more do you want? You get to choose what you want to do with your life and how you want to do it. That's the real gift. Right. So an attitude of gratitude is called for. Okay, we have a question. Linda Castellano says, went to the doctor today for my last week's physical results. Well, now, since I haven't smoked in a year and a half, big weight gain. Now I'm diabetic. Wants me in metformin, an injection a week of Ozempic. That's $570.21 for 3 months. Thoughts? Find another doctor.
I'm not. I'm going to give myself over to the Hippocratic Oath here. I'm not going to tell you to disobey your doctor. What I am going to tell you is
find another one.
Go look at other doctors, get second opinions, and I would actually recommend doing some self-research on the cinnamon therapy. Just saying.
Yep. And she's a pro at aromatherapy, so that's got to do something if only just keep her more centered. But 570.21 for 3 months. So that's $2,280.84 a year. That's a bite. That's a bite.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, there are so many good homeopaths and decent doctors in this world that, trust me, I got all the bad ones. It's just time to shop.
I went the route of naturopathy 2 decades ago.
Mhm.
And in the last 2 decades, I've had actual pharmaceuticals in my biological system 3 times. I pay for it every time
Mhm.
after the fact, sometimes for months.
Mm.
Um,
It's like my chili cheese onion rings.
whereas with the naturopathy, the natural remedies, the natural doctor, I haven't had any adverse reactions.
Beautiful.
Not one. Now, granted, it takes garlic and oregano therapy a little bit longer to clear up an infection,
Sure.
but it does clear up the infection. Um, she says she's sure if she can take off a chunk of weight, she feels this will pass.
Yep.
If you want to take off a chunk of weight, reach out to Sings with Owls. She's helped a lot of people take chunks of weight off their system.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I got something just popped up on the screen. I'll be figuring this out. Visit amongst yourselves. Go away. I don't want to hear about the Olympics right now. Oh, jeez.
Rory said, "Howdy, howdy."
Howdy, howdy, babe. I'll figure this out. Trust me. I figured out the speakers.
Ups.
Oh, no, that's not good. All right, back you. Ha! I fixed it.
You're not supposed to get pop-ups. You're on a Mac.
These are from the Mac.
The
news of today and the temperature and what time is it in Abu Dhabi? Like, I'm going to have a client there.
Rev, would you like to explain to Miss Castellano who Sings with Owls is? She said, "Who?"
Oh, that would be my sister, Donna Austin, future wifey. Well, sacred wife of my brother Spirit Walks Far.
Yeah.
So there.
I don't know if she's if she's to be my sacred wife or if I'm to be hers.
Doesn't matter. We take turns. In a good relationship, we take turns, I could be the big B and you could be the little B, and we'll take turns. It's all good.
She got mad at me. I said, "Come here a minute, hubby," and she got mad at me.
Well, Lisa's always been the man of my family. So she's reliable. She's dependable. She's hardworking. You can count on her. There you have it. She's solid.
Well, I look at my sweetie and she could teach most men how to be men.
Sure. What not to do.
Yeah, what not to do. And she takes me to task when I do things that are asinine. She takes me to task.
I do too.
But I gave over to the fact that she's my Theta, she's my boss a long time ago.
Very good.
Because I've spent my whole life longing for that time when the matriarchy comes back into power and takes over. And
we are one step
I've spent the last 2 decades actively trying to bring that about.
Well, every thought counts. Every thought counts.
Every prayer counts.
Yes, indeed.
I send up a lot.
So with Venus in Virgo, with Jupiter retrograde in Pisces, with the moon who can't go retrograde in Pisces transiting, and Neptune also retrograde in Pisces, this is a cycle where the get-rich-quick schemes will appear. And like I said, I thought about it for a minute. I thought, wow, I've never had that much money on my hands. Well, I've had the house, but never had that much money on my hands at one time. And what I would have to do is I would have to tithe at least 10%, probably more. So in my mind, I was building those small houses for veterans in California.
Yeah.
I was buying you a camper. I was fixing Lisa's car up. I was getting my Benz back on the road because she needs some work. It was like, yeah. And then I sat down and I thought, why am I? Because I know better. Why would I make situations and conditions conditional upon stuff? when it's not about
All
spell.
we have to do is get our writer to sit down and interview me, and sit down and interview you
For what?
for our book,
Eh,
so we can get it on paper.
I don't need a writer. I'm a writer. Hello, hi.
Mm,
See me? 180 charts a week.
Yeah, then spend some time with me, dear sister, because we need.
When I get to it, yeah, I will. If that has to see, that's a Venus Neptune is a cycle where you make such brilliant things, where you make inspired, channeled creations,
Mhm.
and when it hits, you don't need sleep, you don't need eat, you don't need potty. You just create whatever it might be, and whatever you create will translate and disseminate that pure energy to other people and become equally inspiring. There's a chant that we have for the mother drum that I often use to start the circle. And it says, in the beginning was the word, and the word stirred, and it took on energy, and it took on form. And it was God in the form of human beings, and human beings in the form of God. And together to feel that, that is why we drum. That came out of a drumming that I did, just out of nowhere. And that's Venus Neptune, stuff out of nowhere. Memories, beautiful memories you've forgotten about, beautiful moments you've forgotten about. You may see other people like something similar, or something's going to trigger that memory, and you're not here anymore. Remember, Pisces is the sign that beams up better than anybody. Aquarians can be airheads, but they still know they're driving the car. Pisces, not so much. Did I miss that light? Oh, am I driving today? Gee, what a shame. And yet, on the other hand, it is also because it's extremis. Pisces has to do with alcohol and drug abuse. Imagine how much pain a person has to be in, a person who wants to get through life with as little pain as possible, shoving a needle in their arm to get a buzz, which is never going to fix it because eventually the buzz wears off, kind of like a sure buzz. And then you need more, and then you need more, and then you need more. So obviously, it's a very healing cycle. Venus Pluto is the ability to be madly, passionately in love with something that's no darn good for you.
Mhm.
Me and marriage and I. Chili cheese onion rings. Oh my Lord. Sick for days. And I know ahead of time, I walk in the restaurant, crunching my thumbs, going, hand them around the table, and then go home and be alone for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
Um,
Pretty.
a lot of empathically challenged people are actually traumatized by this phase because they're not aware of proper techniques for dealing with other people's anxieties, frustrations, wants, and needs.
Yep. Soak it
Um,
up like a sponge.
yeah, and they do.
A sponge.
JC wrote a paper yesterday. It's going up on the Beginner's Way, probably sometime today, this evening,
Good.
to help those empathic people that have been challenged figure out shielding at a personal level. Um, and it was a beautiful, beautiful meditation, a beautiful synopsis of what she's done to empower herself
Excellent.
as far as shielding goes. And yeah, I would fully recommend people that need an understanding at an intimate level of what shielding can do for you to go and read that paper.
And for everybody, everybody, psychic self-defense is a pure thing. There's no sticky karma whatsoever. You simply put yourself in a beautiful space, surround yourself in pink, love yourself because you got to start in a good place, right? And then you bring a cone of mirrors up out of the floor and flip them out. If someone sends you love, they get tenfold love. No hit, no miss, no foul. If someone sends you negativity, they get tenfold negativity. You didn't do a thing other than put yourself in a good place. It's just that simple. In fact, most of the really powerful exercises are the most simple. Donna says, sign up for Reiki package can help in weight loss. There you go. There's so many. Well, Linda helped me back in the day. She told me about HCG, which is a hormone drop kind of thing. Didn't grow a beard. I kind of wondered. Didn't grow a beard. And I lived on They suggested 1,000 calories a day. I went on 500 calories a day, which is still a lot when you're eating fruit. You know,
Yeah.
it's like 10 apples.
I'm surprised you didn't drive yourself diabetic.
That's the one thing I haven't been yet. I mean, it's there.
Raw sugar.
It's there, but I haven't got there yet. You know, remind me.
I ate a pizza this morning. It was the first thing I ate, and it was really late in the day, and I'm calling it morning just to be nice. Within 20 minutes, I was like, "Oh my God, that was so much sugar! I have got to go do something about this."
Yeah, sugar blues is real. Sugar blues is real. You get jittery, you get shaky, and then eventually you fall asleep.
I'm hypoglycemic, so
yep, that'll catch up with you.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So,
especially with my favorite drink being Mountain Dew.
Yes.
I said again yesterday about it.
Moon, Venus, Jupiter is a wonderful time for manifesting things. Perhaps I manifested this offer from my friend, and I mean, I'm glad for him that he got the money. You know, I'm really glad for him. He doesn't. He is okay. He's a criminal attorney who lost his license to practice law for a while and actually did some prison time because he was sitting in the car with a client of his, conferring with the client about a court date. Unbeknownst to him, the client had like a suitcase full of cocaine in the trunk. Now, if you're sitting in a car with 5-6 keys of cocaine, the police aren't going to like you. They're not going to say, this is his designated driver. No. So he did serious time. And they came back and he got his license back and he went back into the law. Amen. And the sad thing about it, I never thought of this, is half his clients don't pay him because they're criminals. So he will get a big retainer to begin with, and then, whoop, see ya.
Yeah.
You did a bad job. I went to jail just because I murdered mom and the kids. You know, I went to jail. Right. So shame on you for doing a bad job. So I'm happy for him. He got the money. You know, he paid off his bills, put some money in the bank, whatever. I spent mine in my imagery, and then I thought, you know what? I don't need it. Your grandbaby. There are people who need that money much more than I do. Okay, I have 4 times that in life insurance. So if I don't get the hospital bills paid off before I shuffle off to Buffalo, they'll get their money. Okay, the dentist will be last, but they'll get their money. So I'm not worried about that. Got trust for the kids, got my will, my living will, the whole 9. Oh, taken care of. So I really don't need it. It's just confusing. And there's a chance, I'm not sure, but there's a chance the ex, because he's a leech. Back when we went to court back in the day, like a decade ago, any cash advances that I got, like that would be, he would get half of it. Now, I would rather put it through a paper shredder and chuck it in a Mayday fire than give anything to the ex, because, you know, he's in heaven. He's got a trailer, a block in the hooker bar.
They forget they are.
Oh, there I am.
Sorry.
And the dispensary delivers. So his needs are well taken care of. So I don't need it. It was a fun journey. It's like Ken Kais did the same thing. He inherited like $500,000. And as you know, he is paraplegic, so he's in a wheelchair. This is the man who wrote The 100th Monkey and the Handbook to Higher Consciousness. I recommend both of them. Go to abebooks.com. Anyhow, he inherited this money and he said, oh, I want it in small bills and I want it all piled up on a table. And they were like, well, you know, it's your $500,000. So he walked in this conference room at the attorney's office because he'd inherited this money. And he rolled over to it and he rubbed it on his face and he threw it up in the air and he smelled it. He rubbed his armpits and then he put it back on the table. He said, okay, I'm good. And they said, what? I don't need this. I live in a commune, so all my needs are met. I have wonderful insurance, so my physical needs are met. I don't need this. And so he ended up donating it, which is probably what I would do. Sounds like me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You take this, you take that, you take that, you take that. So yeah, people are looking for a quick fix. They're looking for a magic bullet. They're looking for whatever. And you know, the thing that's been in my mind since my friend first brought this to me is, fool, if this sounds too good to be true, go ahead, finish it. Damn Skippy is too good to be true. Okay.
Well,
If I weren't so lazy, I'd go to Matthew Lesko because I've gotten money from his advice before.
well, see, the only reason we haven't gone to him is because we don't have the money to go to him.
Well, you can go online and you can get his books, and it's practically free. All the tutorials are free, and he has one almost every day. The man is amazing. I got one book of his called Free Legal Advice, which is nice.
Swampy said made it was food shopping.
Ah, yeah, I've been running in circles all day. I made it home in time to make an espresso. Speaking of time, I'm tired of being nice. Don't get me wrong. I'll always be polite and say please and thank you and excuse me. I'll help folks out whenever I can. I'll hold the door for other people and help little old ladies get their bags in the cars. That's everyday behavior for me. However, when I see corporate greed carving into sacred land and desecrating burial grounds, I won't be nice about it. When I can document that energy transfer partners, remember that name, build pipelines that leak on a weekly basis, I'll get uppity. When I discovered the state of Michigan sent bottled water to its employees while it was poisoning the citizens of Brent, I get livid. How is it that I reported on the Flint brown water crisis for over a year before mass media found it newsworthy? Guess what? It's still not resolved, and we're not hearing about it. We are the stewards of Mother Earth. Corporate greed and political corruption have to stop now. We drink the same water as our grandfathers, and we leave that precious element for our children, their children, and our children's children's children. How can we look them in the eyes if we refuse to take a stand for what we know is right? There's no time to waste. Our delicate ecosystem needs our attention immediately. From the smallest issues to the largest, we can each make a contribution. Any day you can go to my Facebook page, Reverend Newman or Mother Peace Drum, and see what areas need your attention, what groups can use your support. We must stand arm in arm with the water protectors from Standing Rock and fight to keep our land as pure as is possible. Honor demands it. We can't be nice when Mother Earth pays the price. In the words of my beloved Superman, who has his new CD out, respect existence or expect resistance. Aho. Thank you for giving me permission to say aho. Isn't it funny how people pick up on stupid stuff on Facebook and give you grief for it?
Look, there's a my native tongue language group on Facebook that I'm having. I have actually started an argument in.
Oh, good. About what?
Well, you know my standing on sharing the old ways.
Yeah, got to.
There's this subset of my people that think if you're not 100%, you're not worthy of being shared with.
Ain't nobody 100%.
That's my point. I've been trying to point that out to them for months now. They haven't kicked me out of the group because apparently I have good standing with the elders.
Don't tell mom.
Don't tell mom. Well, I am that guy. I will go to your elder, and if you are being incorrect in our ways, I will go to your elders. I have no choice because I've been named an elder.
Wisdom should not be allowed to die.
No.
And if it weren't for the women, if it weren't for the matriarchy, back when the hoop was so badly rended and had to be healed, it's the women that carried the stories. While the men were getting drunk and doing drugs and trying to heal themselves the best they could. I mean, come on, it's a res. The women carried the stories. The women kept the truth. The women were the wisdom keepers. And it is the women who are the backbone of society to begin with.
No, it's more than that. They even found ways to hide our story.
Sure.
In sight. I've got one of the original grandmother's blankets hanging on the wall in my bedroom.
Beautiful.
The knotwork on the front of it is absolutely amazing. The knotwork on the back of it tells a story.
Beautiful.
And it's a long story.
Yeah.
You realize that the Oglala civilization has been around since before Rome?
Sure. The Europeans are the new kids on the block, and they didn't bring a lot to the party. 5-boy blankets.
Sorry, but that's the truth. They didn't
follow the water table, killed the buffalo. Yeah, but I digress. It's It's the same, exactly the same as when I got into martial arts as a kid. And you can't teach that. One, she's a round eyes. Oh, that's attractive. Thank you. And two, she's a woman. Thanks for noticing. And my sensei, Mr. Papazian, said, you know what? Women can take more pain than men can, physical pain. Actually, giving birth is the same as breaking 29 major bones in your body simultaneously. So he taught me forms and, basics, but he started me on weapons because he said, and he gave me women's weapons in particular. I had size. I have a bow, which is a 6-foot staff with a curved blade on top of it that was made for beheading men who come into the village to hurt your kids. Okay. But he took a lot of flack initially for teaching me. And then at that time, one woman in 2000 got her black belt. That's how prejudiced it was. That is not the world now. That is not the world. My best friend, Richard Plowden's daughter, Megan, is Triple Crown world champion, just like her daddy used to be. How cool is that? You're holding a foot. Is that a foot? Looks like a foot.
That's a shillelagh.
Oh, let me run and get my bow run.
I trained from the time I was 9 years old until I was 40 in martial arts. I have seen women do things that men could only imagine.
Dream of. Yep, exactly.
And I had the pleasure of having a master that was a non-traditional master. She was amazing. And she opened my eyes to more than just the capabilities of womankind. She also taught me that 2 fingers can kill, 1 finger can heal.
Oh, yeah. Which is why the greatest martial artists were also healers. Because if you know how to break a bone, you got to know how to set it.
Yeah.
You have to be there. Own what you've done. I had a 1-punch, 1-kill teacher. He was kind of crazy.
Yeah. I'm really thankful that the matriarchy didn't exactly die out in Korea.
It couldn't. It can't die out anywhere, really. Because if it does, humanity's done.
Yeah. There are still bastions of the matriarchy all over the world, but a little mountaintop in South Korea changed my life. Because up until that point, even though I thought I was walking a medicine path, I was still walking a medicine path with a hat in the wrong place.
Yeah, well. Misplaced hat syndrome.
Yeah.
Seen it.
We all have those moments. And right now in this ubiquitous time that we find ourselves in, used to be the word.
Precedent setting.
Yeah, this precedent setting time that we find ourselves in is really going to be telling over the next decade. Because things that get put in place now, ideals, intentions that get put in place now that get rooted in a firm foundation are going to grow and flourish. And we're at a time right now where the world can actually make a positive change for the better that will be enduring.
Just the fact that the earth healed when we all went on staycation.
Yeah.
And dolphins were swimming in Venice that haven't ever. That tells us something. That we need Mother Earth more than she needs us. She can heal herself eventually. But if we keep doing damage, it's your bucket. It's that holy bucket with the water in it.
Why do we need to be paying Saudi Arabia for oil? Anybody.
Okay. Gas today, $4.09. You want to explain that to me? $4.09. Now I got a street in my Jeep.
I followed the money.
Yeah.
And if you've been following Reuters lately, and I know you don't, somebody that half of us would just as soon see locked away in Leavenworth for the rest of his natural enduring life, plus
him.
And some of his cronies are making out like bandits.
Of course I am.
Because they fixed a price gouge with a Saudi Arabian prince through a United Arab Emirates prince
Nice.
as a front man, and it's funneling billions of dollars daily into these guys' pockets.
Well, yeah, it's a forever black hole because,
Yeah.
once a crook, always a crook. Okay. And the thing is, they can never get enough to quench that thirst. They can never get enough to be rich enough. It's like the day a friend of mine, had a benefit for Forgotten Harvest. Forgotten Harvest is a group that goes around to restaurants and stores and picks up food and takes it to shelters and veterans and whatnot. So
Yeah.
she did this benefit for him, and it was huge. It was like 3,000 people one afternoon. Oh my god! In a building that held 750. So by 10 o'clock in the morning, the toilets are overflowing. By 11 o'clock, the women in the men's room, it was just bad. Anyhow, they had these nice little envelopes, kind of like the offering envelopes you get at church, but they were they had little pre-sealed things on them, and they had the address of Forgotten Harvest. You put your money in there, boom, and she had a bucket for donating your money. That's cool. So it's the end of the day. It's cleanup. Everything's coming down. The vendors are packing their stuff. They're talking. Life is good. Blah blah blah. And I walk over to the table, and she's taking all the envelopes, even the ones with cash in them, and putting them in the garbage. All righty then. And I said, Cindy, what are you doing? This is a benefit. Beneficio. To benefit someone else, not you. And she said, well, they got their name in my paper. What more did they want? Really? She will never have enough to have enough.
Yeah.
How sad is that?
I'm
mourning no welfare cheese. She's never had enough to have enough. And the more she gets, the more she wants. So it's like a great gaping maw of greed. That's going to exist. I'm sorry. It's the worst part of human nature.
getting people to see the inequality of that, to see the unfairness of that, is a never-ending struggle. Coffee.
Coffee. I have espresso. I have to.
They got tired of seeing my Mountain Dew bottle, so they brought me what I was actually asking for.
All right, then. Everything works when you let it. I think the greatest thing, because I know Mr. Sensei Papazian got a lot of grief for teaching me. And he said, well, you have to understand that you have to be better than the men. Yes. You're going to spar men. Yes. Remember, you're going to meet two kinds of men. There are men who don't want to hit a woman and men who like hitting women. So, you'll know when I say, go, you'll know which one you got. And he said, but the thing that I tell others when they give me grief is that we are all human beings first. We're people first. And all that other stuff, boy, girl, whatever, that's just point of reference. It should unite us, not tear us apart. And he's the reason I got my black belt. He is the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I dragged it out. I did white, yellow, red, green, blue, brown, black with a stripe. I took 6 months for each one of them. So it was years. Not as many years as you, but years. And I still train just because it's good for me.
I was a second-degree black belt when I was 12.
Second dan, very good.
13, excuse me. I gave up my black belt. Told my teacher that I wasn't prepared to be a teacher, and asked to be given a brown belt.
Mm-hmm.
I wore that brown belt for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Tested for my first-degree black belt again.
Mm-hmm.
When I tested for my first-degree black belt the second time, I broke all 6 of the boards that were suspended in air and my ankle.
Oh, geez.
Completed my test. Made my belt. I took a 2-year break because of the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go much of anywhere. After the 2-year break, I went back and I tested almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of giving me my second degree, he gave me my third degree.
Sweet.
And told me that my act of humility was more of a sign of adult nature
Yes.
than he's met in a long time.
Yes.
Um, and I taught the youth class for 3 years.
Beautiful. That's where you make the most impact, when they're little. Although in New York, when we were doing the national circuit, my daughter and I, Sifu Paul Vizio actually promoted a 4-year-old to be in a black belt. Now, I'm sorry. No. That's she's a little too young to even understand the philosophies behind it, let alone the responsibilities of being a black belt. It just doesn't work out. As for the humility thing, when I was ordained the last time in the spiritualist church, I've been doing their lyceum and helping with their curriculum for the clergy. And the pastor came to me and he said, well, next Sunday's ordination. I said, nope, not for me. And he said, why? And I said, because, one, I've had this rev for a long time, but I want to make sure I'm living it. So give me a year and a day. A year and a day, that's basic booga booga. Give me a year and a day, as in any other form of initiation. And if I can come back to you and honestly say that I've lived as a rev for a year and a day, hit me with it. Okay? And so I went out and did, and I came back and he said, nobody's ever done that before. And I said, well, I don't do things the same way other people do. And I had to be right with my God. And I remember one of the first things he taught me was, you have to love strangers as much as you love your blood kin. You must love strangers, even if they're nasty. You must love strangers as much as you love your own children, because if you don't, you're not a minister.
Well, when ULC offered me my doctorate, I didn't take it. Because at that time, I didn't feel like I was making an impact. I still don't know that I'm making that much of an impact, but
doesn't matter. Your intention's pure. That's Pisces.
Yeah.
Pure.
I know that I'm teaching what I've been given, and I know that my answers infuriate people. And
only going to infuriate insecure people or deluded people or prejudiced people or people that want you to think they want you to think.
Well,
Not going to happen.
I'm kind of glad that the answers that I've been allowed to give infuriate people, because if I've got that much of your attention, you're going to pay attention.
Exactly.
And maybe
you're going to question. You're not going to walk away from it.
Maybe the answers will start to make sense.
As you know, I'm a third-generation astrologer. So I grew up, crazy mom, was astrologer. My grandma was an astrologer and a Pennsylvania hex sign lady. She painted distal finks on barns. And so I spent my lifetime with mom teaching me astrology. I mean, our wallpaper was charts, so it was there. And it was rather like learning a second language, because we spoke so much astrology that it was part of the mainframe of what's going on. Don't do that. It's a void moon. Do this, do that. Fine. So I went along with the program. It worked for me, which is kind of wonderful. And then I hit 19 or 20, and I decided, all these people that mother had over playing pinochle and chain smoking all night long were famous people. They were Rob Hand and Isabel Hickey. They were the beginning of the gang of 12 that created some of the greatest astrological programs and concepts in the world. I thought they were bums, because then I'd go to bed, they'd be there smoking and laughing and drinking coffee. I'd get up, they'd be there smoking and laughing, eating us out of house home, drinking coffee. So whatever. So I went out and I actually bought books from these people that I grew up with. And I learned that mom knew her stuff. She hated people, but she's good at astrology. Mom knew her stuff as well as her really advanced friends. And so it served as confirmation for me. And I had to learn it for myself. You could tell me till you're blue in the face, and I go, yeah, thank you. Okay, fine, la, 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 la. And then go out and learn for myself. So that's been my technique. Seems to work well. Except for the day I blew up the fuel oil furnace, because I was inside it at the time. Other than the day I crawled inside the furnace, and I hit the reset button, and nothing happened, because I thought nothing happened. And what happened was, when I hit the reset button, it squoze out some fuel oil, and then it didn't happen. So I hit the button again, at which point the second squoze of fuel oil went into the furnace and blew it up. I can still hear the ductwork hitting the basement floor with a loud bong.
Uh-huh.
Bong. And I got a new furnace out of the deal. So, well, my hair grew back eventually. I melted my glasses. What you gonna do? Fuel oil's filthy. Don't ever. If you can avoid it, stay away from it.
Yeah.
And pricey.
Well, you're a third generation astrologer,
Whatever.
astrologist, reader,
Sure.
intuitive medium, and let's see, there's like a list like longer than we'd have to sit here for the next hour and a half just for me to give
Oh,
your
hell no.
there.
No.
But we'll leave it at what I've stated.
Fine.
Because my point wasn't that. My point was being an 11th generation, what I am, didn't leave me a whole lot of wiggle room.
No.
And I actually, in watching you, I don't see you having the wiggle room that I would wish for either one of us. Because the ancestors never shut up.
True. And you got to live your truth, don't you?
Yeah.
You got to live your truth. Because if you don't live your truth, you have no right to give advice to any other human being. So, which is why I set the bar higher than the rest of my family, so I could love them and accept them, and also know that in most cases, they weren't going to understand me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Everybody's where they're meant to be. That's that whole, the God within me loves the God within you. If you're awful, you're teaching me something. If you're nice, you're teaching me something. Yeah. If you ignore me, you're teaching me something. It's all good.
Learning the meanings behind Namaste were eye-opening. Some of the conversations I've had with Muruga, bless his heart, have been eye-opening. Some of them have been infuriating.
Of course.
Because at the end of the day, he still wraps everything up in the trappings of something I hate. And at the end of the day, I still wrap everything up in trappings of something that he won't quite wrap his head around.
Well, and you have to bear in mind that he walked away from his church and he does masses in his studio because they had naughty priests. Tell me a church that doesn't.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so he's a beautiful spiritual man, 50 plus years a drummer. He came in and did workshops for us a couple times, some other piece. And I only had one complaint ever. And the woman said, he talks too much. I said, no, you listen too little. You won't get the chance to be the master teacher again like him.
A 20-minute window to talk with Muruga ends up being an hour every time.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it because we have come to the conclusion that we're both arguing the same points.
Yep.
And we don't get out at each other. We don't get ugly with each other. We laugh at each other when we find ourselves arguing the same point from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the true beauty of the Rainbow Nation, the rainbow serpent that's going to rise up and lead us all out of this quagmire that we've allowed ourselves to dig for ourselves. Healers of all stripes, healers of all nations, healers of all types will come together and lead us out of this.
Absolutely.
And that's spiritual healers, that's religious healers, that's faith healers, that's doctors, medicine men, shaman, medicine women, shamaness, bruja. The voodooing will even have a hand in healing the world.
Sure.
Because the ancestors, and I'm not talking just my ancestors, all of the ancestors have spoken up.
Absolutely.
I listen to everybody's ancestors when I'm walking through the crowds. This is the time. This is the time for everybody to come together and find the love of unity.
And when you see so many people spiritually hungry, it's got to give you a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what gets you there. I have no problem with it. My friend Doc Pelletier, he's a wonderful man. He has a boob fetish. So when I find I send that to him on Facebook. He was an arch supporter of the Cheeto, and and so he would post things to bug me, and I would post things to bug him. But behind it all, we're grown-ups. We can agree to disagree, We can have a good talk. We can walk away, firm in our commitment to our belief systems, and have a life. And isn't that what we owe each other? If you don't agree with somebody, that's fine.
Yeah.
You might not. If you do, fine. If you don't, whatever.
Find your points of commonality. Find your points of origin. Okay. If you can find those 2 points, you can actually find common ground with anybody. And finding common ground with somebody is the first step to enlightenment. Okay. Yours and theirs.
The worst kind, but the most powerful kind, is called common tears. I do workshops for rape incest survivors, and they generally can't talk about it for a while,
Yeah.
and everyone in the room can feel what they're going through because they've been there, and they will silently support them. They might get a hug, maybe. They'll silently support them, and in that quietude, which is Pisces, in that quietude, they can think about it and heal. And when they realize it's not just them, it wasn't something they did that made this happen. It was an evil act by a sick person.
Yeah.
And you can't fix sick. You can put them in prison. Recidivism rate's ridiculous. They don't get better. They'll find some other way to do the horrible things they do. Oh, well.
My
But
ancestors had a way to deal with that was effective.
tell me,
And it didn't involve castration or killing.
saltpeter?
Oh, hell no.
No.
When you skin a man from his fingertips to his waistline, rape's the last thing ever on his mind ever again.
True. That's right up there with setting fire to his privates. Yeah.
Hey, look, and if you let children watch this happen, they don't think about it either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Make the punishment fit the crime. Make the crime detestable. Okay? Don't make it commonplace. Don't excuse it. Don't boys be boys or girls will be girls. Don't fall into the excuse-itis column.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where we end up with serial rapists and serial killers and
well, now see, good point. If you look at the stats, okay, for what makes a person a serial killer, aside from the fact that they are knocking butts, I ought to be one. I was raised on abuse. I was raised on ugly. I did have pets. I didn't skin them, thank you. I was alone for all my childhood, which is fine because I prefer to be alone. Thank you. I could be alone and have good company. Take that. But if you look at all the other ologies and isms, I ought to be Jeffrey Dahmer. But I'm too Virgo for that. It's messy, Eating people's messy. How do you floss? It's gonna take more than wet naps to clean that up. And I believe in grace. So I believe that even Jeffrey Dahmer, who did die in prison, mind you, even Jeffrey Dahmer, to some extent, has been forgiven. Because we know, you and I haven't been there, that beyond this veil, there's heaven, or hey, guess what? There's heaven.
Yeah.
Ain't no burning tar pits, ain't no Jody the Wonder Pig. No, there's heaven, there's heaven.
And then there's return here. Okay. And in the worst cases, of animalistic behavior, they still return here.
Yep.
Okay. It takes more than you could possibly imagine for the Creator to send you from life to the void.
Mm-hmm. And you meet those people say, I'm not coming back. They're going to be the first ones back. You know that. They're going to park, they're going to cough, they're going to die. They're going to wake up in the neonatal intensive care unit going, screaming. Oh, hell.
Aside from graveyards, that's one of the places I absolutely do not like to go.
Really?
Is the neonatal ward, because I can hear the old people screaming about what the fuck am I doing here?
That doesn't bother me too much because, I have this ritual that when somebody dies in hospice, I go look at babies because it's the hoop, the sacred hoop. So,
got bored.
Life keeps on going. Yeah, life keeps on going.
Let's see how screwed up were you in your last life?
Oh my God! It's like WKRP in Cincinnati. That's my karmic bag I drag behind me. It's funny. Who knew turkeys couldn't fly? I did.
I have vivid memories of stepping on a landmine.
It's 7 o'clock.
It's time for a break.
I guess I'll do that. We talk about numerology. See, I'm ready. I'm so ready. We talk about numerology a lot on Answers, and by now you know 11 is a master number. So if your name or birth path or personal year number are an 11, you'll find you expect yourself to be somehow more than human. 11 knows of the untapped potential that lives in the human spirit. At 11 a.m. on 11/11/1918, the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, a ceasefire came into effect that would end World War I, and subsequently, that was regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. Well, did it work? 83 years later on 9/11, we know what happened. And thousands of Americans died. We'll never forget that day. But those events would inspire droves of brave men and women to answer the call of duty and enlist in our country's armed services. Today, all of our veterans face challenges as they return to society, and today's wounded warriors are meeting extraordinary ones. These include visible physical injuries as well as invisible ones such as PTSD. Our job as Americans is to raise awareness for our veterans and address the real hurdles that face our heroes as they rebuild their lives. The Wounded Warrior Project provides direct services and unique programs to meet the needs of injured service members. Please go to the Wounded Warrior Project on Facebook or on the web and see how you can make a contribution. You can buy products, you can send a thank you note to a wounded veteran, you can become a sponsor or create a fundraiser for the cause. Every effort counts. The greatest casualty of all is to be forgotten. Let's make certain it doesn't happen. Not on our watch. Nope. My daddy, my dear old dad, taught me back in the day that once upon a time, veterans got the best of everything. You came back, your job was waiting for you. Your credit wasn't ruined. Your credit rating wasn't ruined. Life was good. You could step right back into your happy, healthy life, which can't be now because life is not the same. And it's meant to be. That's Uranus. And see, that's the insidious Saturn Uranus thing because Saturn, which used to rule Aquarius, is in Aquarius, which is now ruled by Uranus. So there's kind of it's a funky mutual reception of sorts, which also explains why there's no point in being spiritual and humanistic if you can't apply it, Saturn, to your everyday life. If you can't take those needs and values and virtues into your everyday life, don't bother going to church. I'm here to tell you, as a minister, church is very often just a dog and pony show. Show's got the nicest car, the nicest clothes, the prettiest babies. Come on, life is more than just that.
There's two things that I do for people that join my ministry.
Which is? I feed them.
I break time.
Yep.
Because the concept of time as they know it is incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And I break superficiality. Because superficiality is a hardcore shortcut to disavowing other people.
It's a mask. You hide behind it.
And if you're going to be a part of my ministry, you can't disavow other people. You have to acknowledge them for who they are.
Exactly.
Because everybody deserves a face. Everybody deserves a voice. I've got 6 people now living in my house.
Mm-hmm.
3 of which would have never had a voice if it weren't for me.
Exactly.
And
yes and no. People will say, "You really saved my life. That was a really great session." Blah blah blah. Best astrologer, yada yada. And they'll say, "I'm so glad you were there for me." And I said, "I'm glad that the great Creator Spirit put me there for you, but you were ready, and because you were ready, someone would have been there."
Yeah.
Somebody would have been there. I'm glad it was me, but I can't take any credit for it.
I just happen to be the lucky one that the Creator put in your path.
Yep. I have to be in the right place at the right time.
I adopted family because of the Creator. The Creator guided me to give them family blessing. Because they needed family that honored who they were.
And that's just it. Everybody's looking for their seat at the table. Everybody's looking to fit in without the realization that the only place you really need to fit is in your own skin. When you fit in your own skin, you're good. When you keep trying to change it or mold it or suck the fat out of it, that's not you. That's some strange technique that's not natural and probably not forever. Just saying. It's like Linda. She's always been skinny. I will bet she's gained some weight, because she quit smoking. I will bet all her energy is just caca because she's carrying around more,
Yeah.
Knees go, ankles go. Cankle. I don't know what I did. Here's where you know you're old as dirt. I don't know what I did the other day. I couldn't tell you what I did the other day, but I can tell you at the end of the day, when I yanked off my sneakers and I pulled off my socks, my ankle was big and blue. And I went, oh, so now I'm going to crawl to the bathroom and hope I have an ace bandage, which thanks to the dollar store I did. And I wrapped it up. It was good in a day. I didn't stay off it because, that makes too much sense.
Right.
I'm one of the walk it off. That was my mother's favorite thing. Walk it off. Walk it off. Don't be a sissy.
Hell.
Yeah. But I thought, somewhere along the line, I twisted my ankle. I twisted it and I ignored it. That's what you do, you see. I ignored it. And then it went like a catcher's mitt. And it was like, oh, I guess you want attention. Now, knees and ankles and hips are about authority figures and bending to authority. Now, in the middle of all this, actually minutes ago, got a message on Facebook from my friend saying, did you contact her yet? Do you have the money together? I have the money together. I don't really feel like tithing it to a bank in Somaliland. I just, and he maintains, he got the $250,000. He needed it. I twisted my ankle. I twisted it, and I ignored it. I am haunting myself again. There's a button there.
Yeah, there is.
I hope people understand the kind of fun we have doing this. Every once in a while, oh, I found a cake this weekend that was
They brought me cake.
Chocolate. Oh my God, 4 kinds of chocolate. Oh, there you go. Just sit there and eat in front of me. No problem. Oh, kill me now. Buttercream looks yummy.
Oh,
no.
Cream.
Fine. I'm good.
Store-bought Pamela's chocolate cake.
Yum. Store-bought, like them rich folks. You done bought a store-bought cake?
Look, trying to find a recipe for a gluten-free, wheat-free, dairy-free cake that actually tastes like cake is nearly impossible. We found Pamela's. Okay.
I got this beautiful cookie jar for my best friend, Sister Melanie. Oh, no. God, I blanked on her name. Anyhow, I bought this wonderful cookie jar for her, and I made some gluten-free cookies. Took them to Mother Peace because she's one of the founding members of Mother Peace. Monica, thank you, Monica Behrens. And I was so proud. I had this pretty little cookie jar. It was Knott's Berry Farm, with little berries and flowers in it. And I gave it to her. I said, "Oh, try one," because I hadn't tasted it. Try one. And she bit into a cookie and she said, what do you think? She said, I've had worse. Never in the history of history has anybody eaten something I baked or something I cooked and said, I've had worse. Oh, well. So I gave up on the gluten-free thing right there. It was like, okay, I failed.
We have tried Better Homes and Gardens. We've tried Betty Crocker. We've tried 4 or 5 different website cookbooks looking for decent recipes for gluten-free desserts. Mm-hmm. Because every once in a while we feast somebody that's gluten intolerant.
Yeah.
And it's nearly impossible to find anything that's palatable.
It's generally nasty.
The people at Pamela's actually put out a pancake mix that's tasty. Mm-hmm. They put out a chocolate cake that's quite yummy.
Thanks. Where's mine?
Thanks, Sings and JC. They did it.
There's something I would have sworn I would never say in my life. I got tired of chocolate cake. It's a nice chocolate cake. It's in the fridge. Hop on by. It's 4 kinds of chocolate. Oh, look at this. On my Facebook page, which I'm not going to because I'm a little busy, and I told him that, is my little friend Evan saying, did you send her the money yet? Did you send her the money yet?
Nope.
Today was, well, you could give her $500 today and then $500 when you get paid. Okay, if I could give her $500 today, and he said, oh, she could bump it. If she could bump it, why can't she just bump it all together and I'll sign a note for $1,000 and she can give me the $249?
Mm.
It's got to be some weird hustle.
It sounds
Yeah,
wonky.
rich quick scheme. And like I said, I'm genuinely happy for him because he's been through it, poor baby. And we were in parallel because back when the ex poisoned me and I was dying, he went in for heart surgery and they introduced some kind of virus into his heart. So he was actually sick longer than I was.
Yeah.
Not that it's competition.
I don't want to become rich quick. I want to become comfortably well off under my own power.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that needy. Can you imagine being that needy?
Yeah.
That you're willing to maybe throw away $1,000 based on the might be I'll get the money.
I've met a lot of people over the years that had a lot of money and had nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met a lot of people over the years that had very little money and were so rich in spirit and faith and common sense that they didn't need anything.
And I will damn Skippy betcha that they shared whatever they had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been fed by some of the poorest people and had some of the
best. Yeah. And on one hand, it's like you're taking food off their table. On the other hand, it's an honor because they cared enough to get involved, you know?
Where I've been fed like that, I've given back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might not always add up monetarily, but I've given back in ways that they were short, you know? But then too, I've been the person to give the shirt off my back when it's necessary.
Sure.
Because that's who we are. I can do without things that other people won't.
Sure.
Because I have the creator, the creatrix. I have boss helping me out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I fall short, my needs are met.
You got an extension on your lease for another month?
They even offered us September if we need it.
Nice.
We're working hard to raise the money we need to make the down payment on the RV.
See, in my imaginary world, I bought you one that was being towed by a brand new SUV. I mean, it was like, hey, Spirit and the gang deserve the best. You know, it felt so good. I was fixing up the kids' houses, all kinds of projects. And I thought, one, I really need to finish the projects I have on my plate now because there are many. And they're tiered like a 7-layer German chocolate cake. And two, my sister was incredibly wealthy. She waited till she was 28 to get married. He was 42. They got married planning his retirement. He started in the labs at GM sweeping floors and went to GMI, got an engineering degree. And so they built a house out in, Phoenix or Scottsdale. I think it was Scottsdale. And
Scottsdale.
Yeah, they took turns. He would buy a brand new something fancy, something loaded like a Cadillac. And he would drive it out there and he would sell it and he'd check on the house and they'd fly back home. And they would do this like every 4 months or so. Okay. Well, at one point, the house here in Michigan, while they were out checking on their house, and mind you, they didn't go separately. They went one at a time because you got to guard the house. At one point, I guess she went out to buy kitty litter or something. And neighborhood kids broke in and vandalized her house. They didn't take anything. They just made a mess. Now, my sister, being a Taurus, had receipts for stuff she didn't own anymore. She turned those receipts into the insurance company and made a pretty penny on the bits she didn't even own anymore. Are you with me? Went out there to Scottsdale and discovered, now, mind you, they had to build a bigger garage than a normal sized garage because he had a plane where the wings fold up. Now, here's the thing. I don't trust a plane where the wings fold up. Okay. Love flying, but I don't want to be in a plane where the wings could fold up and go down faster than a helicopter. Okay. So she discovered that she was allergic to the sun and her nails fell off, her fingernails, and he got an inner ear thing and couldn't fly anymore. So now they got an airplane in the garage that he's not going to sell, but he can't fly. Now, I'm sure he paid insurance on it. What? Yeah, I don't ever want to be that poor that my stuff owns me. And I know I've been robbed. It's a terrible, invasive feeling. It's just awful. Time it happened to me, Lisa was little, and it was my babysitter. She and her boyfriend came in when I was at work and robbed me. Nice, eh?
I
But
got mugged for a pizza at Wake Forest University.
was it
I
good
was
pizza?
18 years old delivering pizza.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't want my stuff to own me, you know.
So some frat boy mugged me.
Nice. Nice.
Apparently,
Oh,
mommy
what
and
about
daddy didn't give him. They arrested him like 2 weeks later. He had been on a string of muggings.
it?
Apparently, mommy and daddy cut off his allowance, and he was hungry.
Well, you had pizza. You fed him. It's
Yeah.
like when the guy stole, we had a gold leaf Bible in the church, and a man broke in and stole the Bible, and one of the ministers I was working with said, you know, he might actually read it. There's a thought. Good does come from everything. So Venus Jupiter is about, like I said, being attracted to things that aren't any darn good for you. And it really comes down to the three big ones. You got make 3 piles of your life. One pile's want, one pile's need, one pile's desire. Trust me, desire is Jupiter because he sees something he wants it yesterday, if not sooner. Mars in Leo, me baby, me want, me get. So you got your wants. It's what you want to accomplish. Those are kind of noble. And as long as your intent is clear, like mine, like yours, like your whole clan's, then you're in a good place. Okay? Needs are always met. Needs are oxygen, sunlight, water, sleep, some kind of food, maybe even underwear. Okay? Desires are ephemeral. They're not even real. It's like, okay, I'm madly in love with Idris Elba. Okay? Taken, ladies and gentlemen. Madly in love with the guy that paid Ragnar, I think it was when I'm on there, on Vikings. Also taken. Madly in love with Tom Hardy. He's the biggest mess of all because he's a former addict who's a Virgo Scorpio. If ever you want to meet a twisted sister, find yourself a Virgo Sun Scorpio rising because he's not only self-loathing, he's self-destructive. That's the kind I used to draw in like a bum magnet, don't you know? So the beauty of it is, I understand those are desires. I want to be 19 again. I never was. I want to be a size 9 again. I will. In fact, I this week I made this big investment. I've been bagging up my clothes because there's all kinds of fancy gowns and dresses I'm never going to wear again. I'm not doing that circuit anymore. I don't want to look like cosplay. I can't wear a bustier and a tutu skirt to Walgreens. You know, it's just odd.
The girls are looking for new costumery.
Beautiful. So I bagged all this stuff up, put it on the patio. Vietnam veterans are going to come get them. I donate to them because they got screwed better than anybody. So I take care of them. And I thought, okay, first thing, I want to hang my, granted, this is Michigan, as my sinuses will attest. We never really put our winter clothes away. So my long john shirts are right behind the gauze blouses. Might not make sense to you. If you lived here, you'd understand it, okay? I got the little tiny baby doll pajamas, and in front of it, flannel, because you never know, okay? You just never know. It could snow in July. It's Michigan. It's possible. So I'm going to hang them in of course, I think Virgo.
Protected first for our property is August 15th.
Beautiful. The little hooks have to face in. I think that's a military thing. My dad taught me that. So I went on Amazon and I bought 50 velvet flocked hangers with rose gold hooks on top of them to organize my closet. How beautiful is that? This is Virgo heaven, boys and girls. You know, I was scrubbing floors and washing mirrors before we went there because if I didn't, you would know. You would know. So yeah, I'm getting rid of all those nasty old wire hangers and those big chunky plastic hangers that leave.
Well, I got rid of wire hangers after I watched that horrendous movie,
Mommy Dearest.
Yeah.
She was a piece of work, wasn't she?
Because the movie actually triggered bad memories for me. I'm not going to name any names, but I got beat across the shoulders with a wire hanger one time. It don't feel good.
I got my all-time favorite. I got the willow switch. Okay. Not only did I get the willow switch, but Mommy Dearest would send me down the block to cut that willow switch and make sure that it's very long and very green. So if she would use whatever was at hand, if she didn't have time, wooden spoon, number 10 can of beans, but her preference was a willow switch. And to this day, I love willows. It's like, you don't take it personally. I don't take it personally. It's okay.
I was in the care of somebody other than my parents.
Mhm.
And I was in a rebellious nature.
Mm.
And I got sent out to collect said willow switch. And I kept bringing back things that weren't switchable.
Ah.
So a wire coat hanger was close to hand, and it was
Nice.
used in the place of the willow switch that I refused to bring back.
Mm.
So
Well,
I
would
made
have been
the
better.
situation worse by being me.
Mm. Which is another reason to love you. We're both that way. You see it, you say it. You don't lie. You don't
I
filter.
was never left in that person's care again.
Mm.
So it all worked out.
If Mom could have left me with Ted Bundy, I would have been in better shape because she was just sad.
Said person was
abusive.
also the person that informed my natural daughter's egg donor
Mhm.
that I had found them
Hmm.
and was on my way to retrieve my daughter. Not one time, but 6 different times.
Well, yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah, I had legal custody, but they retired to a state where legal custody in North Carolina didn't matter.
Mhm.
I won't name the state because that state has changed its rulings and laws regarding custody and such. Yeah, it got ugly, and I spent a lot of money.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
We don't speak to certain parts of my mother's family ever.
Oh, happening. See, I went past that. I went above and beyond. I'm the happiest orphan on the planet with the biggest sacred family you will ever see, and they're all around the world.
Yep.
No complaints.
I don't have any complaints with my sacred family.
Nah. And that's the beauty of it. You might have. Well, I always said I stuck my toe in the murky end of the gene pool because I was nothing like the rest of them. And they got along. It was just me and Dad versus my mother and my sister.
Yeah, but we have to remember we wrote the script.
Yeah, exactly. I own it all. So the things that we think are wrong in the moment are actually right for the moment, for that moment. And if it's really some kind of inequity, it exists so people will realize it and make it stop happening, like the children in the residential schools. Probably thousands. We'll never really know. They're finding mass graves.
751 more confirmed unmarked graves.
And it's not just Canada.
No, this was in the U.S.
It's all over.
The sad part about this one was one of the unmarked graves was as recent as the mid-'80s.
Mhm.
Um,
Like I said, they're still doing it in Canada. CPS will come in. They took a baby away from a beautiful young couple, and they maintained that she wasn't getting quality care because Mom and Dad are both working. Well, Grandma's taking care of the baby. You can't have a better babysitter than Grandma. I'm sorry. That does not exist. And in the Native family, you're not a stranger. You're my uncle. You're my aunt. You're my cousin. You're my brother. You're my sister. And yet they took this baby away from this beautiful young couple, and they were just trying to get enough money to buy a house. Not much point. And that was maybe 3 years ago.
It's proof that fascism is still alive in the world.
Absolutely.
It really is. And it's sad because that's something that our ancestors fought together.
Exactly.
And
But
died
if we
together.
see those children as beautiful martyrs to the cause,
yeah.
It's not that their lives did not matter. Oh my God, there's a video that I played a couple times last week where they were burying the babies they found in buffalo robes. And I had to walk away a couple times. It was like, oh, thank you for being there. Thank you for all you went through. And thank God that your voices were never stilled, ever.
Yeah. And thank you that your voices have been given air.
Absolutely.
Because
Precisely.
that's got to change. Like the tax status of the church.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to change.
Won't that be fun?
Yeah. You realize that in and of itself would cure hunger for the next generation?
Joel Osteen could do it with his lunch money. Back when the area flooded, he would not allow people to sleep on the floor in his church. What is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you?
He's not a minister.
It's like Mayor Nagin flying out of New Orleans when Katrina's on the way.
Yeah.
There's dedication. Thanks for staying with the ship, buddy. And they reelected him. Hello. They reelected him.
Why? That's like Mitch McConnell.
Yep.
How is he still getting elected?
Mm-hmm.
And there's numerous others that we can ask ourselves, how are they still getting elected? And it's because the people that are electing them are all over the age of 60.
Yep.
They all believe the rhetoric. They've bought into it for so long that to deny it would crush them. And we have to remember that when we're dealing with those people that bought into the rhetoric, we have to remember that taking them away from the rhetoric will change them, will alter them to a point where they will not recognize themselves. And to them, that is a loss.
That's the small ego talking, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ego that surrenders to a greater source is always connected to higher consciousness and those human beings.
Yeah.
The small ego is I, me, mine. Give me, I want. Don't tell me no. Well, it's like, as you know, I was raised everything. So Catholic, Methodist, Greek Orthodox, very Reformed Jew. My Jewish name is Sarah. Catholic was the one that fascinated me the most because you're born dirty. You're born dirty. You're born sinful. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm a kid. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm sitting there in church looking at this garbage. And they're saying, but, you pay your pew rent. You go to confession. You say good act of contrition. God might forgive you. So it's about money. It's about capital. It's about you telling me what to think and how to think it. Gee, thanks. So from the get, it was like, fine. Wonderful. If you think you're born with sin, you're born with sin. You're born perfect.
Yeah. The Swampy said, and they're in gerrymandered districts. It's even worse than that. There's 4 corporations in eastern Kentucky. If you work at one of those corporations and you vote against company policy, you don't have a job anymore.
Uh-huh.
And their company policy has been to elect the person that's keeping them running filthy environmental waste hazards in eastern Kentucky.
Energy Transfer Partners build pipelines that leak every week. Every week. They're killing the earth. They're killing people. And they get away with it because some sweetheart deal happened somewhere along the line. Probably with the Cheeto. Probably before the Cheeto. I tend to think it's like a big ugly train rolling down the tracks.
It is. It's not just the Cheeto.
And I'm not hopping on it. Thank you. No.
I'll
walk. Oh, what? Rose says my mom was crazy Latin Mass level Roman Catholic. Yeah. Latin Mass. I love a Latin Mass. I go for the Paschal Mass at Easter time because in the old churches, they turn the lights out and the whole place is filled with candles. It's beautiful. And the same weekend, they have a blessing of your critters. So you can bring in like your salamander and get it blessed. And then you go home for Easter and you eat a butter lamb. It's like, I'm blessing critters, and now I'm going to cut the head off this butter lamb and spread it on my muffins. Cognitive dissonance. Mercury Neptune. See, it all goes back to Mercury Neptune. And Mercury Neptune really is a time of genius. It's a time when you will think of money-making ideas. Because as I'm getting this get-rich-quick scheme, and And I'm mentally spending my $250,000. I'm thinking, there's at least 5 programs that I've heard of in the last 2 weeks that I really should apply for. It costs nothing to apply for them, other than you're dealing with the government, so there's pounds of paperwork. If you're willing to pound out pounds of paperwork, eventually you will get the money. It's a grant, not a loan, so I don't have to pay it back. Thank you. My creditors, thank you. My pocketbook, thanks you. I hate pocketbooks. I always carry like little
Clutches.
shoulder bags. Yeah, little shoulder bags, because my mother's had a pocketbook, and it was like, what are you, an immigrant? We have a loaf of bread in there, maybe some Twinkies, some ho-hos, pair of shoes.
Rory carries a clutch or a wallet. Sings carries a purse. JC carries a backpack.
Well, my favorite is I have a biker wallet that's black leather with flames painted on it. It's got a chain so I can hook it to my jeans. So when I'm an active body in motion, that's what I'm going to go for, because I don't want my hands tied up. I taught common sense self-defense. Don't let your hands get tied up at night. By the way, I'd like to take a moment of your time to talk to you about our sacred family, who are the heart song of the Native American Rights Fund. These brilliant individuals belong to all the nations, and they join together to affirm and defend the rights of indigenous people everywhere. This is a most noble journey. Since 1970, among their priorities are, and will be, to preserve tribal existence, to protect tribal natural resources, to promote Native American human rights, to hold governments accountable for Native Americans, and to develop laws for indigenous people and educate the public about the rights, the laws, and issues of Native Americans. If you agree with me, it's rather insulting that these amazing individuals even have to fight this battle. This is an organization whom you need to support. Please go to their website, www.narf.org, and see what you can do. The first American should never be considered last. It's time for the U.S. government to hold up the treaties they signed well over a century ago. Actually, it's over a century and a half ago by now. Please go to narf.org and get educated as to what you can do. Language.
Currently, they are sponsoring the MMIW coalition of grandmothers that are in front of The Hague.
Sweet.
They're doing a lot to change awareness, to bring awareness to the atrocities,
Mm-hmm.
to the Great American Holocaust.
Exactly.
And that's not just the U.S., okay? That's the Great America's Holocaust, where millions of indigenous people were slaughtered, put to death, because they interfered with colonization.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Reparations are being talked about as far south as Peru.
Beautiful.
And as far north as the Arctic Circle. There are people that will never be held accountable for the atrocities of the past.
But they'll pay.
But they'll
They've
pay.
paid.
They'll
continue to pay.
People that will be remembered for the fight for recognition because they have paid.
True.
There's a young girl going to jail for the next 8 years for turning a valve on a pipeline. She got labeled as a domestic terrorist.
Chop her hands off.
Yeah,
chop her hands. I'm sorry. See, I just went native on you, didn't I? Just chop her hands off.
Yeah, but this is a person that was just turning off the valve to protect the water. Okay, this person is white by birth,
mm-hmm.
and indigenous by heart.
Red heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
White face, red heart.
She's as red-hearted as she can be, and she took up the fight where other people have fallen behind.
I'd do that. If I could really make a point with it, I'd be Leonard Peltier. Wouldn't minus his creative genius. If I could make a point, and I can get loud when I have to, I would do that. Absolutely. No, I thought she was like turning it on into the water. So Mercury, Neptune, cognitive dissonance. Okay, Rose says, I've opted for a holster lately. Easier than no pocket jeans. One, why? would you make jeans with no pockets? They put pockets in wedding gowns now, which makes sense because if I'd had the car keys the last couple of times, I would have just driven home. I would have said, "Take the cake. Nice to meet your family. Bye." I don't like that good and white anyway. I'll wear red or black next time. Black is good. Yeah. No pockets in your jeans. That's what you got a bra for. I went to the dispensary. Don't you though? Well, you don't. I do. Well, popcorn, car keys. Went to the dispensary the other day. I've decided I have a new career calling because now that Oakland County is so open and friendly, don't you know? Not only are the dispensaries giving all kinds of discounts, first customer discount, senile citizen discount. You got 2 feet, you get a discount. You're paying cash, that's all we take. You get a discount. One even had an espresso bar and bottled water. And when I went back, they were out of water, so I gave them shit. But anyhow, so about one I went to the other day where they come right to your car. It's like A&W's. In fact, I said, I want a bakery truck in your parking lot. Imagine the money I could make with my cornbread and my cupcakes and my chocolate brownies in the parking lot at the dispensary. I'd make more money than they do. Anyhow, so nice guy comes out. How can I help you? I said, I just called in this order. I got an ounce of shake. Really good stuff. And it was, I'm not the expert. It's a head buzz, not a go to sleep buzz. Sativa, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm talking to the expert, right? And they bring a nice little gift bag, a little ribbon on it, whatever. I got an ounce with my discounts for $59.03. That's 5 packages of edibles.
Like I said, need to talk to you about the butter recipe. You can actually turn that ounce into edible.
Oh, I got one. I make butter with the pantyhose. Yeah.
I'll shoot you my recipe.
Cool. Eventually, because the thing is, for my patients that are not on chemo, I will make peanut butter cookies because it makes them happy, and they listen to music, and they watch TV, and they read books, and we sing and dance. For those that are on chemo, not much I can do because chemo makes sugar taste bad. How unfair is that? You're going to give me cancer and I can't have chocolate? Oh, kill it.
I actually have an answer for that.
And
your chemo patients use monk fruit instead of the sugar.
Okay. So, where was I? See, to sidetrack me, I lost it. Tommy Chong has a machine for extracting butter.
Yeah. Which
when I get that $250,000 any day now that Evans guaranteed me he got, I feel so bad. Here's how Catholic I am. I feel like I'm letting him down because I don't want to put $1,000 on the line for money I'm probably never going to see. He's so proud. He's written me 3 times already on my Facebook page. Did you contact her yet? Did you write to her yet? Did you send the money?
Here's what you have to ask yourself in this situation. What's he on the hook for?
Oh, do I dare?
That's.
Do I dare? Give me yes or no. Do I dare?
Yeah.
Okay. He wants a weekend with me at the Dungeons and Dragons Motel.
Yeah, he's on the hook. For
Cool Whip not included.
He's on the hook for something because this scam, this too good to be true scam that he's adding pressure to.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's yanking his chain.
He's leaning heavily. I think he gets a piece. That's what I'm thinking he gets a piece.
Somebody's got hooks in him.
And if he can find enough village idiots, he can make that $250. If he got it, that's wonderful. That's fine. I don't really need it. And
that $250,000 is coming from his friends that he dupes into giving $1,000 up front.
Yeah. Slick, huh?
Yeah.
You've got that many friends. And I can always tell Muruga because they're best buddies. Do you know what he's doing? It's cute that he's so proud of it, and I'm cynical. And I personally, it's just me. I would rather have something I earned. If you give me something I haven't earned, I'm going to give it away or I'm going to give it back.
You have to be.
If I've earned it myself, then this is what I made of myself.
If
God gave me a skill
set. If it's too sweet to pass up, then there's a catch.
That's what I'm thinking.
because nothing comes for free.
It's that guy in Zimbabwe that just wants my passcodes and my MasterCard, and he's going to send me all the gold he's got in his. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sings gets about 10 offers a month from guys that just want her to to do this thing so they can take care of their child for the next year.
Mm,
Um,
sure.
sure, we're
That's healthy.
arts. We love children. We like to help where we can, but trust me, you're not going to get money out of a turnip because it's about like trying to extract blood out of that self same turnip.
Hmm.
Just not going to happen.
And yet, if the need arises and it's genuine and you don't live in fear, you will manifest the money.
Yeah.
I've done it for 25 years now. I put my girls through college with no net and no help. Granted, we had student loans, but no net and no help. It's about appreciating the gifts that God gave you and using them accordingly. Saturn.
No,
Saturn's a buddy of mine.
my question is, if they're going to excuse student debt, are they going to retroactively excuse student debt?
Uh-uh.
I didn't think so.
Nope.
I would be happy if they just excused.
Set the bar too high, bucko.
I would be happy if they just excused current student debt.
True.
You know, other countries. I mean, even to medical school, other countries send their children to school on the state.
Canada, you don't pay for college.
Yeah.
How nice is that? There's no pressure.
Canada,
You do have to keep your grades up.
Okay, in Canada, you still have to pay for your postgraduate studies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
by then, you're living on ramen. By the time you get there, you're living on ramen. You're wearing your bunny slippers, doing dishes at a local cafe, grateful for whatever finds you.
Yeah. I have 2 degrees that I don't use.
You have to flaunt them. They don't really have any value.
Yeah.
Other than my rev, I like tossing my rev around when people are mean to my patients. I'll be Reverend Doctor, and I'll get regular faces. Beyond that, no. Beyond that, no. So who's in chat so we can say hi to everybody?
We have Swampy in chat. We have
Hi, Swampy.
I think Rory and Sings and JC are all sitting around the same device.
Sweet.
We have Linda Castellano and Heather Powers.
I have.
And that's all I know for sure.
It's good enough for me. I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the musicians. Eventually we'll plug their music back in. I'm grateful for your listeners. I'm grateful for you and Swampy. I'm terribly grateful to Anchor FM YouTube because I never knew it could be this good. And eventually I'm going to starve off my chin so I'm not just a circle in the screen. Yeah. I kind of like being a circle. It's not a bad thing. It's all right.
But yeah, we do the thing. We move forward. A lot of people get confused and get frustrated because things happen and they don't know what to do when things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a whole conversation with people today about the path that I'm on and why I accept that upsets are going to happen and I just move on.
Mm-hmm.
What defines us is what we do when upsets happen. What defines
and how we maintain our inner peace, because that's all that matters.
You know, today to maintain my inner peace, I had to go lay down for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it helped. I got past the point where bad options were looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just needed to retreat from the conflict that I had caused.
Sure.
Because, you know, I am who I am. Sometimes I cause conflict. And learning how to deal with the conflict I cause was part of learning to deal with being who I am.
Gotcha.
Sometimes when you cause conflict, you got to step out of the way so other people can resolve the conflict you caused.
That's the key. Without conflict, there can't be any resolution.
Right.
We don't want to walk around like Stepford wives agreeing with everything that's going on because there's a lot that's wrong.
No.
There's equally as much that's right with this world, but there's a lot that's wrong. And we don't want our quietude to be accepted as tacit acknowledgement that it's okay to be homophobic or stupidophobic or germophobic, whatever phobic about. Consider this. This is a time for us to exercise gratitude. So practice it every day for the blessings you receive from the great Creator Spirit. Be grateful for the divine wisdom and guidance, for the courage to face your pain, and for the strength of your spirit. Be thankful for the love in your heart and the willingness to share that along the path of healing. This is an invitation to count your blessings. Whose love has touched your heart? Are you blessed with good health? Are you being nourished? Do you nourish others? What brings you joy? What gives you peace? Be grateful that you find yourself in the company of people who are supportive of you. For each member of the spiritual community, program, or fellowship of which you are a part, give thanks. Show gratitude to those from whom you seek counsel, those who inspire you the most to deepen your faith in the great Creator Spirit and strengthen your belief in yourself. From deep within, know gratitude for having survived the anguish of the past. If even now your life is being challenged, and when isn't it, and tested, you've made it through another long and lonely night. Be grateful for your victory. And if the moment comes where you feel there's no one to whom you can turn, know that you are never really alone. God knows I've tried to be. Give thanks each and every day to God for guarding you out of the ashes. If you're just beginning to heal, be thankful for all that you have indeed become. If you're already well along in your healing, be grateful for what you can share with others. And whatever you find on the path, be grateful for these things. The things you're unable to change are your greatest teachers. For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love that from our birth over and around us lies, Lord above to thee we raise this our song of grateful praise. Amen. We want for nothing. Nothing. And that's as it should be. So yes, it's mind-boggling how much you and Swampy did, and the fact that we are all over the map now, and we made what, 3 cents, 6? I
Actually,
want that residual check.
now we're almost at $1.
Oh, oh, okay. Now let's see. We split
Take my
that.
breath away.
Oh, wait a second. Just JC and Rose and Sings and yourself. Okay, we've split it 5 ways. So that's 20 cents. And as I told you already, I will only take wheat pennies. Okay.
Wheat pennies.
Eventually, I wouldn't mind a Sacagawea dollar if they can still be had. Or my fallback are $2 bills. I think they're fun.
I started collecting $2 bills for my
Is
grandchildren.
that a native thing?
I, I, I think so.
Because a lot of natives I know save tooth.
I've given $2 bills to Kinley. I've given $2 bills to Caitlin. I've given or provided $2 bills for Georgie Kalen or Georgie and Kalen.
Mhm.
Provided dollar bills for Cora Jean or $2 bills for Cora Jean. Uh, I don't know. It's just
I gave you one the first time you visited.
every time I come across a $2 bill, it gets passed down to one of the grandchildren.
And that's true prosperity. You know, whatever I have, I can share. Because the Father, my God, doesn't feed lack. There's no hunger or poverty in the spiritual world. And so I'm always available to tithe and share with other people. That's just it. Just, it is what it is. You'll sant what you'll sant. It is what it is. I've been saying that a lot lately, especially
So,
this week because we've had so many transitions at hospice. And as I told you, lost a patient yesterday, did a funeral today, doing a funeral in 2 days. They're weird. I mean, I'm grateful. I'm grateful now because back in the early days of the bug, you didn't get a funeral, you didn't get a viewing,
yeah.
you didn't get near that person because they acted like it was the bubonic plague. Remember those days? Cooties, stay out,
In
isolation.
the last month, I've talked one of my adopted sons through 6 different personal friend suicides,
Mm-hmm.
and
Dark side of Neptune.
I found out last night that from him, and this is one of the reasons I didn't sleep last night. They had all signed a suicide pact, and he signed it with them. And he's having guilt because he didn't go through with it.
Human beings.
Yeah, I'm like
Real human beings.
I'm like, little brother, this is not you. You are not on a path of self-destruction. You're on a
You're
path.
not a victim. You're not a victim.
But he really is. He's on a path of enlightenment. He's sharing what he's learning through me and other elders with the people of his generation. He's just not reaching the ones he feels like he needs to reach quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, little brother, I love you. I don't always reach the people I need to reach either. But it's okay because they come back.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see them again.
That's that ego thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can fix this. I got this. Yeah, right. That's
Look,
right after holding my beer.
I will be the first person to tell you. Not everybody that thinks about checking out early is just thinking.
Very often, they're kids who don't think far enough to realize that, sure, I'll show mom because she grounded me, but you'll be dead.
Yeah.
Oh. So even when I say facetiously, kill me now, that's not even up to me. That's up to the great creator spirit. Time is right. I'm off like a prom gown. Then I think I'll hover for a while. I'll haunt Jason Momoa. Oh, yeah.
I've
Perfectly wet.
in the last 21 months, I've lit 3,492 candles.
Mm-hmm.
I have said the death prayer for all of those people. Not that I knew them all personally, but I knew somebody that they affected.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of those went out because of COVID. Not all of those went out because of stupidity either. Something I learned a long time ago from my creator about suicide is that some people wrote it into their script so they could take a great sorrow with them.
Okay.
And I know that doesn't bring solace to a lot of people that lost people needlessly, but know that in writing their script, they chose.
And everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That what you will take as a life experience and turn into devastating pain, someone else might take and turn into complete enlightenment. It's Buddha. Heather Powers, it's nice to hear you guys today after the sucky weekend. I enjoyed it very much. Yes, it was a genuinely sucky weekend, and mine just keeps on rolling along. June 1st, I had a man here to clean my gutters just because my ladder's not tall enough. Okay? He did a pretty good job, except he left a tree growing in the gutter. A tree. We're talking a tree. It's like a Christmas tree, 2 feet tall. And because he left a tree in the gutter, all the schmutz from the roof is clogging up, which means I'm going to need my drains done again. I don't think that's fair, but he's the gutter guy. So I called him yesterday. He totally forgot me. And then he said, "That's what's the matter?" And he said, "You can tell." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I locked my keys in my truck." And I said, "Well, turn your day around. I'll see you when you get here sometime this week." And I thought, he's fighting being a grown-up, isn't he?
Yeah.
I locked my keys in the truck. Oh. So I guess I ought to find a locksmith. Why not buy another set of keys? Just saying. Just for the heck of it.
Yeah, if you're having a problem locking your keys in your vehicle, you probably need to have a spare somewhere not in your vehicle.
You think? Yeah. Yeah.
Try your wallet, your purse, your clutch, your handbag.
Bras are handy. They should make man bras. Well, one, because many men need them, and two, because it's handy. You can get all kinds of stuff in there. Pack of cigarettes, my Zippo. Although I smoke more when I watch you smoke. I notice that. It's a monkey see, monkey do thing.
I know. I'm quitting soon.
I know. I'm so proud of you. I do it to keep company, but not until I'm back in a 9.
We come to a family consensus decision kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
if we're going to be on the road for a year
In a camper with a baby.
with a baby, I don't need to be smoking.
Another one on the way. I just had to drop that in there. More beans. I'm the chairman of the More Beans Coalition. More beans. More. Never enough beans. 5 or 6 would be nice. 10, 20. More beans. We love us some beans. Oh, lost my little fur baby mystery yesterday. My son lost a friend to suicide this weekend. Just looking for something good. It's always good. When the Fire Bear was dying, she made tapes for all her kids and said, "This is what you taught me. This is what I learned from you. I'm always with you." Blah, blah, blah. And then she said, "And when I'm gone, I don't want a funeral. They had one anyway. I don't want a funeral, but I want you to have champagne and wedding cake and realize that when someone you love makes their transition, that's another birthday for you to celebrate. So I celebrate that." She died in February. I celebrate that. I don't celebrate mine because we didn't in my family, but I celebrate that. This was a gift. This is a real gift. Then on my birthday, which is behind me, thank you. On my birthday, I buy presents for other people. I buy things they want and need. Because nobody needs this stupid unicorn head squirrel feeder that you smear with peanut butter and then cram peanuts up its orifice. I'm not doing that. I'm thinking every deadly disease. Some raccoon with a unicorn thing stuck on his snout, and I'm running around in my pajamas and my bed hair. No, not happening.
We're going to take down all of our bird feeders because of conjunctivitis.
Good idea.
Apparently, there's been a bunch of bird die-offs this year that aren't being reported until way late.
Typical.
Yeah, things we really should know. Birds
And
fly.
why can't we, since we're smart, why can't we make some kind of feed that would heal that disease and not hurt a critter that didn't have it?
Right.
I mean, I look at these things and I think, why are we wasting so much money on a butt lift? Okay, when we could be saving the earth. I don't understand this. Why are we so focused on hemorrhoid medicine?
Or getting
not even right to begin with. Riddle me that.
The amount of money they're spending trying to get off the planet would fix the planet.
Fix like the cat. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you see the shape of his spaceship?
Phallic at best.
With a big head.
Well, and it's like the homeowner association guy with this big red Lincoln Town car. He pulled up the first time. I thought, oh, he's a micropene. That's it. If it isn't this, it's going to be a truck with wheels taller than me.
I have an associate that's being harassed by somebody that drives a very big, very ugly lifted truck. I had to make a comment. I wonder what he's compensating for.
Everything. I was at the gas station the other day getting gas, and there's a guy next to me. He had a dually. It was beautiful. It's a big Dodge Ram Hemi. Now, riddle me this.
Did he have a dental plate belt buckle?
No, he had the mud flaps with the naked ladies. He's pumping gas while the truck is running. Is that 1, spark, 2, waste of gas, 3, boom, 4, might as well light a cigarette and crank up your cell phone. Let me move that.
Combustion much?
Bizarre. Oh, geez. Look at that. We're almost out of time.
Yeah.
I hate it. Okay. Tonight at 8:15-ish, you can find your weekly astrological forecast at the astralbaglady.net. That's also where you can schedule a session with me. Go ahead, I dare you. Or you can contact me at abaglady01@att.net. Your turn.
Reach out to us at www.foroflight.com for all your spiritual and metaphysical needs. And if you need some jewelry, want some jewelry that has that Native American look, that Eastern tradition feel.
One of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind. Nothing is ever reproduced. Nothing's ever copied.
Made in China.
Reach out to www.spiritwalksforcreations.com. We'll set you down. We'll talk to you about what you need, what you want, and put it together for you. It's kind of a custom one-off deal that goes along with our package.
Let's not forget pipes. Right.
Yeah,
Mm.
we make hand-carved wooden pipes out of naturally harvested, sustainable.
It's 8 o'clock.
Beautiful.
It's that time.
I know. Gosh darn it. Well, we'll be back soon. And Heather Powers, circling. You're going to be on the show really soon. I promise. Thank you, folks.
Peace and blessings, everybody.
Have a beautiful week. Peace out.